China's military, the People's Liberation Army, was a force undergoing rapid modernization. Understanding its structure is key to grasping Beijing's strategic ambitions. However, much of this structure remains shrouded in secrecy. Unlike Western militaries, the PLA operates with a high degree of opacity. This makes analyzing its regional commands and specific operational areas challenging. We must piece together information from various sources. The concept of a secretive military district speaks to this lack of transparency. It highlights areas or commands where sensitive activities or strategic assets are concentrated. These are often deliberately kept from public view. Historically, the PLA was organized into military regions, or MRs. There were 7 such regions across China. Each MR was responsible for defense within its geographical area. These MRs were large, encompassing multiple provinces. They controlled ground, air, and sometimes naval forces within their boundaries. This structure served China for decades. However, the MR system was seen as outdated. It was designed more for static defense and internal control. It lacked the agility needed for modern joint operations and power projection. In 2016, China enacted significant military reforms. The 7 military regions were dissolved. They were replaced by 5 new theater commands. These theater commands represent a fundamental shift. They are oriented towards specific strategic directions and potential conflict zones. Each command integrates land, sea, air, rocket, and support forces. The 5 theater commands are the Eastern, Southern, Western, Northern, and Central Theater Commands. Each has a distinct geographical focus and primary mission. This structure is designed for joint warfare. The Eastern Theater Command faces Taiwan and the East China Sea. Its focus is on potential cross-strait operations and maritime disputes. It is arguably one of the most strategically critical commands. The Southern Theater Command covers the South China Sea and borders Southeast Asia. Its primary concerns are maritime claims and regional stability. It manages naval and air assets crucial for projecting power in the region. The Western Theater Command is China's largest by area. It covers the vast western regions, including Xinjiang and Tibet. Its focus is on border security, counterterrorism, and the border with India. The Northern Theater Command faces the Korean Peninsula and Russia. Its concerns include regional stability and potential contingencies in Northeast Asia. It also oversees significant naval forces in the Yellow Sea. The Central Theater Command surrounds the capital, Beijing. It acts as a strategic reserve and controls key military institutions. It is less focused on external borders and more on internal security and strategic support. Beneath the theater commands are provincial military districts. These are often what people refer to when discussing military districts in a sub-theater context. There is one for each province, autonomous region, and municipality. These provincial commands are primarily responsible for mobilization, recruitment, and managing reserve forces. They also play a role in civil defense and supporting local government functions. They report to both the Theater Command and the Central Military Commission. While less focused on frontline combat operations than the theater commands, these provincial districts are vital for logistics and personnel. They form the base of the PLA's manpower system. Their activities are also less publicized than the main theater commands. The secretive aspect of China's military structure stems from several factors. The PLA operates under the strict control of the Chinese Communist Party. Information flow is tightly managed. Details about specific unit locations, personnel, and capabilities are rarely disclosed. This contrasts sharply with the transparency practices of many Western militaries. This secrecy serves strategic purposes. It complicates potential adversaries' intelligence gathering and planning. It allows China to maintain an element of surprise regarding its military developments and intentions. This opacity is a deliberate feature, not a bug. Certain areas or commands are inherently more secretive due to their function. The PLA rocket force, for instance, controls China's land-based missile arsenal, including nuclear weapons. Its bases and operations are among the most closely guarded secrets. Locations associated with cyber warfare units are also highly sensitive. China's strategic support forces, which handle cyber, space, and electronic warfare, operate in the shadows. Their specific bases and command structures are largely unknown. Sensitive border regions, particularly in the Western Theater Command, also fall under a veil of secrecy. Military deployments and activities along disputed borders are often kept confidential. This is to avoid escalating tensions or revealing strategic postures. Naval bases, especially those housing strategic submarines or aircraft carriers, are also subject to significant security. While the existence of these bases is known, detailed information about their operations and the vessels they house is restricted. This applies particularly to bases for nuclear submarines. This pervasive secrecy has significant strategic implications. For other nations, it creates uncertainty about China's military strength and intentions. This can lead to miscalculation or overestimation of capabilities. It also makes arms control and confidence-building measures more difficult. Without transparency, verifying agreements or understanding military postures is challenging. This contributes to regional mistrust. For China, the secrecy protects its strategic assets and operational plans. It enhances deterrence by making potential adversaries unsure of the full extent of its capabilities. It also maintains internal control over information related to the military. Analyzing China's military requires overcoming this secrecy. Experts rely on satellite imagery, open-source intelligence, and careful analysis of official statements and media. Defector accounts and cyber espionage also play a role, though these are unreliable or sensitive sources. Tracking changes in unit deployments, infrastructure development, and training exercises provides clues. Observing the behavior of military leaders and the priorities outlined in defense white papers offers further insight. It is a constant process of piecing together fragments of information. Understanding the internal dynamics of the PLA is also crucial. The relationship between the theater commands, the Central Military Commission, and the provincial districts is complex. Power structures and lines of authority are not always clear to outsiders. China's military structure, particularly its regional commands and sensitive units, operates with a high degree of secrecy. The shift from military regions to theater commands aimed to create a more modern, joint force. However, this reform did not bring increased transparency. The concept of a secretive military district reflects the reality of analyzing the PLA. It points to specific commands, regions, or functions where information is deliberately withheld. These include missile forces, cyber units, and sensitive border areas. This secrecy is a strategic tool for China. It complicates foreign analysis and enhances deterrence. For the rest of the world, it necessitates careful, persistent intelligence gathering and analysis to understand the capabilities and intentions of this rising military power. The veil of secrecy over key parts of the PLA remains a significant factor in the global strategic landscape.